The world of boxing also. One big picture we're having would be Alexander Usyk against Delbo. The face before it would be champ for Team Nigeria, almost being booted out, but they survived it, finishing third in Group B. Unfortunately, good morning, Steve.
Definitely exciting times to be back and very happy that I don't have to do this alone today. It's been a couple of days running solo, but good to have company today.
Absolutely good to have company. When it took a while for me before I saw you, I thought you've also been in the transfer market. I will try to figure out which direction you're going. But on the overall, I wasn't the one who was. I'm the one who wasn't around. So maybe I was the one in the transfer market, not you. But into the round of 16, that's the early part of it. And what's Nigeria beating China? The early part of it. And what's Nigeria beating China? China. I seem to be the whipping girls of the tournament. Everyone beating China at the end of it. Now, China. I seem to be the whipping girls of the tournament. Everyone beating China at the end of it. About a FIBA Under 19 women's basketball competition. It was against Portugal, the third group game, and Nigeria was beaten by Portugal 79-61. Well, to finish third somewhat somehow, 49. Up next for them with 6-1. Well, to finish third somewhat somehow, 49. Up next for them would be against Hungary. Let's talk about a performance of the girls at this tournament. I mean, I would say not good enough.
I would say it's their debut at this particular tournament.
Yeah.
The first time they are heading to the Under 19 FIBA Under 19 World Cup. So definitely, I would say it's something to be proud of. One win in the group stage. So
And 2 losses.
2 losses. Maybe next time we'll get to better. That particular performance. But for now, I would say the team has done well. Juliana Akera has been able to tinker the Canada. But when you look at the Canadian team, they are almost on par with what we have with the United States of America, neighboring team, North American neighbors. So they are always going to have more access to playing, have developed, facilities as compared to the girls in Nigeria here. But I feel the Nigerian girls have done enough. Nora Ezike being one of the standout performers for Nigeria as well. So I think it's something that maybe if we get to harness this talent that we have, because my question is always, when you have age grade tournaments, be it cricket, be it table tennis, be it basketball, like we're talking about now, what happens after this tournament? I want to see a proper transition, because I don't know if we have an under 20 tournament or maybe another age grade, or if the girls would have to transition immediately from here to the Tigers of Nigeria, because I feel they're still very raw and they do not have the finishing qualities yet. So players like Nora Ezike are one for the future, because the girl is good enough. In the very first game, she had 17 points. Second game, she was still Nigeria's highest point scorer in that particular game. Yesterday, she had just 9 points. Not really, something good about. But the Portuguese girls identified her as the number one marksman for the Junior D Tigers, and they had to stop her. So other people had to step up to the plate for the Nigerians. But I feel players like that should be harnessed, not just letting them go to West, because after the Under 19 tournament, I don't know what's next for the girls, but I just hope that there is a proper transition procedure that's waiting these girls after this.
I mean, a quick transition could be joining club size and performing quite well. A big disappointment from a Nigerian point of view. Yeah. It would bring back the conversation of not having a proper basketball league in the country. And many will begin to ask how the scouting system was done and to pick the right girls to be part of it. But the good news is that in the next round now, we'll be talking about Nigeria facing Hungary. Hungary finished second in the group. That is that conversation. What are we expecting? Because Hungary were in a tough group. In that group, we had the United States of America having a sweet sail in it, winning all the games. But Hungary somehow finished.
Viewers at home, Junior Dragons do not stand any chance against the Hungarian girls, because when you look at it, those girls went toe-to-toe with the United States of America. United States of America are the standard when it comes to basketball, be it junior level or whatever, and they went toe-to-toe with them. And they won 2 games in that particular group. I just lost to the United States. So when you have a Nigerian side that lost to Portugal, then I don't think they stand any chance against what we're talking about now, the Hungarian girls. So maybe we're just looking forward to Nigeria dropping to the classification around for 9 to 16 place teams and see how high they can end the tournament. Hopefully, they're not going to be one of the maybe 10 to 16 teams. I can see them finishing 9th. Good enough for us. First time at the tournament, so you have to put that in perspective. They finish 9th at this tournament. I feel that's good enough in the whole world. Under 19, that's a good performance.
They're just debutants at this tournament, and maybe next time out they'll get to be better. But come on, Nigeria is a powerhouse in Africa when it has to do with African basketball in Africa. reigning champions, I guess, for
Definitely.
women's
We don't
category.
have any
Absolutely.
other African country at this particular under 19, so
So you see
definitely they
what
are
we're
the best.
saying. They have to keep the flag going for
Exactly.
Africa anyway. But quickly, before I leave basketball and talk about tennis, one angle to look at. Were you surprised that the Chinese girls were the whipping girls of that group?
Well, I'm not gonna lie. I was surprised when I saw the Nigerians facing the Chinese girls. I was surprised because it was also a massive scoreline, 93 or 92
Yeah,
thereabout.
absolutely.
The girls
A
got
huge
to
gap.
score against the Chinese. So I was like, what happened? But at the end, the
Being
next
beaten by
opponent,
everybody.
so I was like, oh, maybe they're just are not that good because before the match they were billed as Asian heavyweight. So when I saw that particular tag, I was surprised that the Super Tigers had to beat them by a whooping 92 scoreline.
A whopping 92 scoreline for the team I've spoken about. And quickly, let's switch gear and talk about basketball. Not basketball this time, boxing. When it starts with B, it seems like the same thing anyway. Boxing, it would be Alison Usyk. It would be a battle between Alison Usyk. Yennefer Usyk had to come back and have that victory after being knocked down, but he wasn't knocked out. Is knocked out. Is that conversation big superstar? So for let's start it, I don't know, 19th. Not
Yeah.
far off, just by the
I think
corner.
this weekend.
Absolutely.
This weekend, yeah.
This weekend, just by the corner. But what are we expecting in this one? A big superstars, a second encounter between these two.
Well, I would say if Daniel Dubois hears, hears you saying he's an interim champion, he might be very pissed because we know his anger issues. He's a champion. He's the champion. I think WCO, WBO,
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
so
You're
he's
right.
the champion.
Previously an interim champion.
So against
Because Lazanasic vacated the belt when he fought
when he
against
fought
Tyson Fury. Absolutely.
So for Daniel Dubois now going back to face, he was not supposed to fight Usyk.
Yeah.
He called him out after his fight. He was present at boxers who feel they can beat Usyk. For me, I've watched Usyk fight. He's not a heavy puncher. He's technical. He reminds me of what's this particular name now, Muhammad Ali. He doesn't knock you out. He keeps you in there in the ring, and he just has his way with you. No, he reminds me of.
I
He
agree.
reminds
But
me of.
Muhammad Ali gets to knock you out when he chooses to knock
Muhammad
you
Ali
out.
was not known for his power.
Yeah.
Muhammad Ali will not knock you out with one punch. He will decimate you in the ring before you know you are down.
And you're knocked
That's
out
thing.
at the end of it.
Yeah, so that's the same thing, almost the
Absolutely.
same thing with usage. Now, when you look at all his fights against Tyson Fury, against Anthony Joshua, he's always kept them there in front of him.
It's okay to take you the distance.
Exactly. Almost all his fights always get into the 10th round. Look at Daniel Dubois. He's never got the fight he had with Usyk. He quit on his stool. He did not even come back to the ring.
Yeah,
after, I think
they're
the 8th
throwing
or
the
9th round.
coach throwing
roundabout.
the towel.
That's the thing. The man does not have the endurance. He's known for his, quality punches. So at the end of it, I'll just say, I think it's just going to be the same result as we saw in the first match because I don't see Daniel Dubois. I've watched him time and time again in the Anthony Joshua fight. Anthony Joshua came out guns blazing and had to be stopped by Daniel Dubois. I don't see Usyk coming out that way. Usyk is a very technical boxer. He's not just going to put himself there in the crossfire for you to have a free hit at him.
But someone, when you look at this guy, Daniel Dubois is a younger guy.
Yeah,
Usyk,
younger.
Somewhat, no matter how you want to look at it, age is beginning to catch up with him.
faster than Dubois?
Yeah, he's quite fast, I would say. But the
Was a
conversation
cruiserweight
is
before
we have to look at that. And the confidence that comes with Daniel Dubois after beating Anthony Joshua.
Exactly.
Was it the first round, second round? Absolutely fantastic beating Anthony Joshua. So now he seems to be the top guy. I heard you ask a question to say you don't know why he's looking for this fight. This is the biggest fight in boxing at the moment. Who are you going to fight against rather than the boxing champion, the biggest champion the world has seen, the Ukrainian international? A little guy but knows how to box. So you think Usyk gets a victory again in this one?
Yeah, definitely. We're talking about Daniel
No room
Dubois.
for surprises.
It's boxing, everyone has a puncher's chance, but when you look at it, I think the technicality of Usyk is just miles ahead of what we have in
But
Daniel
Dubois is a
Dubois.
better fighter now compared to the last time they fought.
Would I say better fighter? He's fought, I think, about 2 times. He fought 2 times after that particular bout.
Yeah,
So
he's won them.
it's he won them, but it's not enough to say he's better. Come on, Alexander Usyk defeated the man he defeated for that particular belt, Anthony Joshua, twice. So if he's a better fighter because he beat Anthony Joshua, then what does that make Alexander Usyk? We're a better fighter.
He knocked out Anthony Joshua in the second round. But Usyk went the distance both times.
Usyk
12
embarrassed
rounds.
Anthony
No,
Joshua.
he didn't. 12 rounds.
Embarrassed
12
Anthony
rounds.
Joshua.
If
Anthony Joshua threw a tantrum in the ring after the second game. Was
well, we
throwing
know,
the belt
but
all
it
around.
was 12 rounds. If you
Well,
say that was an embarrassment, then what Daniel Dubois did to Anthony Joshua was super embarrassment.
when you knock out someone, it just means you have power in your hands. It doesn't mean you
You
are a
are you are
skilled boxer.
a better
We
fighter.
saw,
Give him his
come on,
flowers.
we
Come
saw
on,
Deontay Wilder. Come
give
on,
him his flowers.
I've seen Deontay Wilder. I just see Daniel Dubois as a poor man's Deontay Wilder because Wilder was even more
Well,
ferocious than him.
I think what you're not acknowledging, Valentina, is that he didn't defeat any other fighter. He defeated Anthony Joshua, a big superstar.
Andy Ruiz has defeated Anthony Joshua. Alexander Usyk has defeated Anthony Joshua twice. So I don't see anything special in defeating Anthony Joshua anymore. He's been defeated time and time again. So for Daniel Dubois, he can get on the back of the list now.
All right. Now, Daniel Dubois, Valentina, thinks it's going to be same old when it gets to face Alexander Usyk. We got to see what happens. Well, the date absolutely is July 19. Just over the weekend, it would be something to look forward to. Quickly in the world of tennis, we hear the defending champion Arena Sabalenka is leading the field for New York. Lots of tournament taking place after Wimbledon Open, and we're talking about some of the biggest tournaments. We could talk about the Mabudala Open. Mabudala Open, it would be that of defending champion Paula Badosa, the Spanish international, pulling out with lower back injury. She's not won any big title yet, talking about a Grand Slam yet. Is that concern? Many people are beginning to ask questions. You're world number one, but a Grand Slam title quite difficult for you, the way we're looking at. And similarly, we're thinking was going to be her and Iga Swiatek at Wimbledon, never happened. Yeah. Iga Swiatek keeping the record. But now New York, they're just starting with a smaller tournament.
Well, first up, grass court swing is over. We're heading to the hard court swing now, and we're moving to America, where we're going to have
the US Open.
Yeah, US Open, and then we have the Mobudala DC Open, and lots of other. We have 6 tournaments in 7 weeks. So, and just one Grand Slam, which is the end of the year.
Yeah, everyone can attend all of it.
Exactly.
So you have to choose your choose your game.
Exactly. So I think for Arena Sabalenka, this is where she has her prowess. And when you look at it, what she's been able to do, she's reached. This is where she has her prowess. And when you look at it, what she's been able to do, she's reached the semifinals twice, 2021, 2022. She's reached the final last year.
The semifinals
open.
Okay.
Yeah. So and now she reached. She won the championship last year. So I think she definitely has something to go for in this particular tournament, because right now we have, when you want to call a Grand Slam winners this year, you can't call her.
Yeah.
Talking about Madison Keys for the Aussie Open, talking about Cody Kokokov for Roland Garros and Iga Swiatek who won the Wimbledon just last week. So I would say Wimbledon just last week. So I would say maybe this is Aryna Sabalenka's time, because when you look at it, hard court is her thing. But when you look at it, hard court is her thing. But when you talk about hard court, she's not just the only favorite. We have Jessica Pegula, who's known for winning hard court events. Who's known for winning hard court events. In fact, most majority, 70% of her tour level tournament has been hard court win. So I would say for Arena Sabalenka, she might not just be They got Swiatek in that mix. She seemed to be back. When winning Wimbledon, because not many people thought grass court was Iga Swiatek's stuff. Yeah. But Garage, that's French Open. Yeah. So when you look at that, she stayed that long without winning a major tournament. I think that it's a bit of a glass ceiling there, and you have to break it. Maybe she's broken it with the Wimbledon, but I cannot just put my tent. I cannot pitch my tent with her right now, because I feel, first of all, she's going to have a level of how would I call it now? Let's say fatigue, because she had to go all the way to win the Wimbledon. So now going into the US Open, she might just want to rest off a little bit and try to see how she can recalibrate her body and all of that.
Just surprising, putting Iga Swiatek in that mix. Seems to be the biggest name when it has to do with women's tennis. Yeah, we know Aryna Sabalenka taking center stage, and a player standing tall in this one. It was Goffin denying next-gen ATP Landulas in Gstaad Open. Well, we're back
to do the magic, just making a return to tennis now, win this particular game. Hopefully we get to see him maybe reach the quarterfinals, semifinals, because I cannot pitch my team with him to win the whole thing, but maybe quarterfinal, semifinal. It's been a long way coming for him.
Recently you've not been using the term pitch your tent. I don't know what happened. This says you've been around a lot. It just new set of vocabulary in this one, but it makes sense. He's pitching his tent somewhere, but the good thing is it's not just that. Somehow, he's not pitching his tent with all the superstars. He's pitching his tent with Mr. Blyden here. Let's go on a quick break, and when we're back, it will be football stories all around the world, looking at some traction and possibilities as CAF unveils a list of superstars at the WAFCON who made the best 11 in that regard. Don't go anywhere. When we're back, we'll talk about all the transfer stories in that regard. Bladder came funny thing I still made for a company to have missing out of actually this one. But the house is still a full house. But all the ambience that comes with it is a sports central. And we get to talk about football stories all around the world. In the world of football, the exciting aspect of it, a Would Better Chant competition that'll be taking center stage. And we hear that Nigerian officials have been snubbed, talking about a referee again as CAF unveils a referee's list. Before we get a look at the details of this one now, when I look at the detail, it doesn't really make sense. CAF named a total of 75 officials for the tournament, including 26 center referees, 26 assistant referees, and 5 instructors. Additional 18 video match officials will be involved in the tournament. And Nigerian referees not seen worthy to be maybe a video assistant referee as a giant of Africa.
I think it's poor. I think it's poor because countries like Tanzania have referees at the Chan, and Nigeria does not have better than us. I think apart from maybe 2 teams, they have. Let's leave the club.
Maybe the performance of a team.
Let's leave the club.
Maybe the performance of a team also reflects the quality of referees in the minds of CAF.
I would say last season we had top teams like Aqua United being unable to win 50%. If the referees were not up to date, the referees were not doing their job, we wouldn't have things like that. Because I still remember when I grew up watching the MPF, a lot of their home fixtures. And so it was really bad reflected on the league. But in recent times, you've seen things like that happen. That cannot happen without the referees stepping up to the game. So
women's game, we have a Nigerian referee be part of it somewhat. But the men's game, not trusting the men's referee.
That's why I said, because if a country like Tanzania can have referees, Nigeria should have referees.
But going back to what you said earlier, I said last season, Nigerian league was quite good. They did well. Maybe CAF is still looking at the previous season. It's not building momentum yet. Talking about consistency. By the time the league gets consistent, we see good results, home and away. Then we begin to... But it goes back to bring something fun. What you've done in time past, it seems to be haunting the country
definitely, now. Because those referees that have been caught, I'm sure they've always been in and around the scene for maybe 10 years now. You're not just going to drop them for new names from the Nigerian scene. So it's probably a cumulative thing at this point. But hopefully, just like you've mentioned, in the next 5 years, when CAF really takes a look at the Nigerian system, we can get Nigerian referees to be part of the mix.
Teams are building that momentum, playing a few friendly matches and ready for it. Just keep it at that.
Well, I have something interesting on that.
Go ahead.
Last year, Heartland FC got relegated, and then they bought the sludge of Beyond Limit. Now this year they got relegated again, and we have a team from Imo State coming, Kun Khalifat, and there are reports that Heartland FC might just be bad. That's why they've reopened camp, because I'm sure they're not reopening camp for the NNL. Why are you reopening camp for the NNL at this point? So maybe there might just be some things there going on.
Well, it's speculative. We cannot really say for now.
If they did it last time, they can do it again.
And they can do it anyway. But a question would be what the problem is for them. I heard the last time out after the relegation, the board still said they did quite well. Talking about a former Nigerian under 17 coach being in charge of the side. What's the name now? Emmanuel Amunike. Absolutely. Who was started Nigerians being part of that mix. But we're talking about the attacking line of best 11 of this competition. Being some biggest superstars. We're talking about the Zambians dominating proceedings. South Africa. It's surprising by the outcome of it. The players that feature any missing men. We've seen Barbara Banda and Rachel Kudanagi also being part of that mix, and Ndiaye of Senegal also being part of that mix. The coach of the side, South Africa, being part of that mix as the best coach of a group stage. I many begin to wonder why she's the best coach of a group stage.
Is that right?
Yeah, the pool draw against Tanzania.
And they won their next game convincingly. South Africa, they trashed Mali 4 goals to 0. So I think Well,
in women's football.
I would say South Africa were good enough because
Justin Margaret.
wow,
Yeah.
Justin Madugu just his team scored just 4 goals in the tournament.
He's about a coach of
Seven
Zambia. About a coach of
Seven clean
Zambia.
sheets and all of that.
Zambia.
Come on, Zambia have been very, very, very lackluster compared to the last championship where they were.
They played
Last-
stronger teams in this one. They
Doesn't
started.
matter.
They started the tournament with Morocco.
Doesn't
They
matter.
played Senegal. Senegal a top side in
That's what I'm
recent
saying.
times.
That's why he cannot. That's why the coach cannot be the best team of the group stages
All
because
right.
he struggled through it. You know, the very first game. I think the first game was a draw.
With CAF in this one, some big superstars
Ashley Plum
are
just
being
well.
part of it.
Yeah.
Ashley Plum.
I think she's been phenomenal. She reminds me of Trustakong as the former Wafcon. And if there's something that gives me a sense of hope that maybe Nigeria can repeat what the male side did in the Afcon, I think Plum has been very solid.
Remember what they did.
Trustakong as well.
Remember what they did at the AFCON. They finished second run up.
Oh.
So if that's what you want for the Super Falcons,
that's going to be good enough for me. Honestly, the last time they finished fourth. So
afterwards, they'll send her on loan to Real Sociedad.
Yeah.
And she was the second highest goal scorer in the La Liga F last
team
season.
like Granada. I think the lady has been. Was she called up to the Super Falcons? I doubt if she was called up. She wasn't called up. She's not in camp currently. This particular signing, she was there. She was present where when she was being unveiled. So she's not been brought to the Nigerian team. So when you keep asking questions, what was Justin Madugu thinking? We have players like this scattered around, and you didn't call them up.
Yeah.
At Imade, then we have Gift Monday also scoring goals for her team currently. I think she scored a goal over the weekend when Nigeria were busy, struggling in the World Cup.
It's a late game. Many are saying, but Gift Monday.
I don't know, and I love it because
that they have Barcelona players, and you end up selling her low.
well, I buy Munich. I think they. So when you get her and put her on the bench, that would even be worse for her development. So I'm happy that they've reached an agreement to send her on loan. She's definitely going to start at Real Sociedad. So maybe one season on loan, comes back to Bayern Munich, and is a full starter.
The other question is what the development is for her. She's already done it at Granada.
Yeah.
Why Real Sociedad? What's the difference, Granada, Real Sociedad?
Well, let her prove her mettle. I think look at Gyökeres.
She's proven her mental already.
Look at Gyökeres, for example, 27 years old, and is still being talked about as a striker who's not done enough because he's been a sojourner. He's gone to Brighton and Hove Albion, only had one
argument. She's not a sojourner. She's gone to Bayern
She's already
Munich.
gone to a big club. Bayern Munich.
No, she's not playing for Bayern Munich yet. Well, let's move on and talk about transfer. Since we're talking about players going to other clubs, and what be one conversation that's taking center stage. Many Arsenal fans do not like it. Paul Merson, similarly, former gone as superstars, come on, kick against the signing of Madueke. Noni Madueke. Chelsea fans most times when they're watching now they say Noni Mexican, but now he's going to Arsenal. They say his finishing is so bad. Well, I don't want you to dwell on it. We've talked about it. According to reports we're hearing, Real Madrid's Jude Bellingham is due for surgery and will miss 3 months of football. So Xavi Alonso has to do without this man. Has he really used him effectively? We saw the club walk off. He was playing deep in the middle.
He was
3 months.
He was playing injured, so I cannot blame Jude Bellingham. I think he's been a very pivotal figure for Real Madrid for a player to play through,
not necessarily
through the pain.
Not necessarily blaming the player. What I'm even talking about is the fact
Xabi
how
Alonso.
he's been. Xabi Alonso is using him. Under Ancelotti, he had the pain and was still playing, but more and approaching the 18-yard box of the opening. But under Xavi Alonso, he's stuck in the middle.
Well, I feel for Jude Bellingham, that's where he prefers to play because we saw him at, what they call it now, Borussia Dortmund, just a box-to-box arriving player. He's not an attacking midfielder. He's a CM. He box-to-box. You get so he's not an attacking. He's not going to create those chances.
When he say box-to-box and central, I think it's a mix-up.
He's more of an Elke Gundogan kind of player.
In terms of central attacking. Upward.
Well, I just see him
matter
as,
of semantics.
I see him as an Ilkay Gundogan type of player. You not play Gundogan as a number 10 when you have Kevin De Bruyne.
Because now he's playing deeper. The conversation is lots of goals, but under Xavi. But the other conversation is who replaces him now.
Arda Güler already replaced him quite well at the Club World Cup.
Deep in the middle.
Highest assist for
both of them played at the Club World Cup.
That's what I'm saying. Arda Güler played in the more attacking role now, in the midfield role. So I think that's what Xabi Alonso wants going forward. And I think that's best because when you compare the creativity in Arda Güler and the creativity in Bellingham, I'm looking at
position.
Well, Chouameni played in the centre back for the man, what's his name now, Xabi Alonso. So maybe he'll be brought forward to play in the midfield. Maybe.
And you've really talked about Arda Güler. They were whooped by Paris Saint-Germain. Speculation. We hear Diego Simeone seems to be quite interested in a double look man and he'll be looking forward to what he brings to the table. Well, no offers yet, but Atletico Madrid are interested in the player. Damage his intestine, but we hear he's back into a full training with Nottingham Forest, and it makes all the difference. I mean, while Juventus are lining up Rafael Onyedika to replace Luis, I will see how that pans out. Napoli also pick on Luca over Nunes on loan from Udinese to partner Lukaku. I mean, while Liverpool have registered interest in Newcastle's Alexander Isak, I hear about £120 million in that regard. Only if Newcastle are ready to sell, just like Liverpool had rejected £58.6 million Bayern Munich bid for Luis Diaz. The player is open to leave. Meanwhile, Barcelona Ter Stegen, the goalkeeper, trains alone amid uncertain future. There have been speculation that he's going to be the third choice goalkeeper. Either he leaves or he leaves. Last word, I'm looking at a few transfer made in the case of Isak and Liverpool.
Well, I think it's quite interesting bid for Hugo Ekitike, £80 million. That bid was said, and Frankfurt rejected it. So it's a bit ridiculous. Hugo Ekitike, 80 million.
Many Liverpool fans are thinking that they get
Ekitike, then they could get Isak.
They're trying to get Isak away, and the fans don't want that.
Reported that Eddie Howe wants to play a 4-4-2 system next season with the likes of Elanga and Gordon being in the four-man midfield and just flanking. He wants to go out full attacking to be able to score more goals. So he wants two strikers, and we know Ekitike can also double as a second striker and all of that. So